Okay, I just wanted to show you a quick way how to solve a problem like this several different ways. And I'm doing this for my personal finance class. So let me just get right into it. And it says Jenny Lopez estimates as a result of completing her master's degree, she will earn an additional $6,000 a year for the next 25 years. She wants to know the total amount of those additional earnings. So in other words, if you're not earning any interest on that $6,000, what would it be? And then if you can earn 10% on on the $6,000 a year, what would the future value be of that after 25 years? So what I'm going to do, first way I'm going to do, I'm just going to go ahead and paste this into Excel. So I'm going to go Window Shift SHIFT and then S as in Sam. I'm just going to highlight this right here, and then I'm going to go down here. I'm just going to go ahead and open Excel. So I'm going to go EXC and then hit Enter to open up my Excel. And here's my Excel, and I'm going to open up a new workbook. I'm going to paste that in. And then let me go ahead, since that's kind of hard to see, I'm going to zoom in a little bit down here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, what am I given here? So I'm given normally in time. This is a time value of money question. So normally in time value of money, you're going to consider most of these five things. You're going to consider how many periods, the interest rate, the present value, if you have any payments, what the payment is, and also what the future value is. Okay, so normally those are the five things when you're dealing with a time value of money problem. In this case, N is 25 years, right? That's what it says in the problem. I'm going to go 25, and I'm going to type years behind it just to make sure, to remind me. And then part B, we can see that I'm earning 10%, so I'm going to go 10. I'm going to type the percent because then Excel knows it's 0.1, right? And then if you're doing any math on it, right? So I'm going to go apostrophe because if I do just to do a division sign, it's going to think it's math. So I got to go apostrophe per year. And then, so my present value, I'm not starting out with anything. So I'm going to put 0 in here. In my payment, I'm going to say it's a minus $6,000 because I'm investing that. And that's per year. Okay. And then we don't know what we're going to have in the future. All right. So those are what we were given. And we want to find what the future earnings are going to be. And we want to find this part of the question also, right? So those are the two things we want to find. So I'm going to put the question mark separate. All right. So that's our problem. So by the way, I got this question out of this book. That's a very common question, but I got it out of this book right here. Okay. And this is the book I'm using to teach personal finance in the spring semester of 2024. A real good book. It's published by McGraw-Hill. So I got that question out there, although you can get similar questions out of other books. So there's a lot of different ways to calculate this. One way you could do it. Now this is an old school way, and I don't really recommend it, but you still see it in some textbooks and some places. And they use something called a factor table. And I'm going to take this factor table and just put it in here so you can look at it. Well, before we start that, let me just do part A, right? So part A is pretty easy. And you don't need to really know much about finance for part A. It's just going to be equal to 25. Now, you see I didn't type 25. I clicked on the 25 up here. I went equals 25. And we could times. Now, since I put this in as negative, I'm going to make it a negative this to make it a positive this. So it's going to be, so in the future, if you don't consider interest or reinvesting it, it's going to be equal to this. So let me put this in as a formula so you can see the formula. So answer to part A, I mean, you would just do that. You don't need to know any finance. You know, it's just going to be 25,000 times, or 25 times $6,000 a year. All right, so part B is the one that I was going to say, that one thing you could do. Let me see if I could, what would be the future value? Okay, so, so this one is the one that you could, like I said, I don't recommend this way, but I'm just going to show you because sometimes you see it. I learned how to do this back when I was taking finance back in the early 80s. You don't really do this that often if you have a computer. But you can see that the factor for 25 years, this is an annuity, right? Because the reason it's an annuity is a series of equal payments, right? So it's 25 years at 10% is 98.347. So $1 in the future would be equal to 98.347. And $1 invested right now, or $1 invested as a payment, I should say it this way, $1 invested as a payment over 25 years at 10% as an annual payment would be equal to $98.347, right? So we could put that in here. We could say I could put in future value factor is it's equal to 98.347. Okay, so you can see it's 25 and 10%. So I'm going to get rid of this. I'm just going to go ahead and delete it now because we don't need it. So now I could calculate this from the, let me move this over here. I'll move it right beside it. So now we can say this is equal to, again, I'm going to make this positive, so I'm going to go equal to a negative this. Whoops. If I go negative, it makes it positive. Equals a negative this. Then I'm going to take it times that factor. And that's what, and we could put this in, I'm going to format this as dollars. Okay. So that's the answer using the future value factor. Okay. Another way you could do it is, this is the way I prefer. Let me put this question in again. Another way you could do it is you could use Excel. Here you go, equals future value. And it asks you here in bold what my function arguments are. And the first one is rate. So I'm just going to click on this 10% per year. Then it asks for the number of periods, it's 25 years. And then it asks for the payment. Now this is important, the cash flow matters. So you're investing $6,000. And then in the future, you're going to get a positive cash flow. So you do want to leave this negative in this case because Excel pays attention to the direction of cash flows. And then the present value is this. And it gives you a little bit more exact answer, right? So that's how you would do it using Excel. Let me put the formulas in here too. Okay. So another way you could do it, there's, let me go equals again. Another way you could do it is you could use your financial calculator. So if I go to there's a lot of websites out there. Let me paste this right here, Control V. So I'm gonna go to this website. So let me highlight it and go copy. And we'll go out to the internet and paste it in here. Control V. And again, this is just one example. And here you can, along this one, you can just solve for different things. I can solve for the payment, the interest, the number of periods, or the present value. In this case, we're solving for what we want in the future. So I put 25 in here, put 10% here. We're not starting out with any money, so this is 0. And I'm investing in negative $6,000 every year. And if I go calculate, okay, so it shows you 590, 82, 36. And that's the same answer we got right here. So I could just say it's equal to the same thing I typed here. Okay. You can also do it with a financial calculator if you want to. There's also a formula you could do it with, a finance formula. You could also do it the long way in Excel, right? In Excel, you could actually calculate what my payment is, what my interest is. I could probably show you this real quick, how to do this. So they're doing period, the present value, the payment, and the interest, and the future value, right? So they're assuming this goes in at the end of the year, right? So this first year, you're not getting any interest. So let's just show you how to do that in Excel. So again, we're going to do period. We could say year, right? Year, present value, payment, interest, future value. So I'm going to go year, present value, payment, interest, and future value. And we know this is 25 years, so I'm going to go 1 and 2. And then if I highlight this and bring it down, this is the kind of the brute force method way to do it. So it's going to start out at 0, right? And my payment, in this case, my payment, you're going to say is positive because you're using math, you're not using an Excel function, or you're not using a financial calculator. So I'm going to say it's equal to a negative this. And I'm going to F4 this. And F4, make sure when I copy it down, it always points to that. And in my interest, well, this payment gets applied at the end of the year. So my interest is basically what I started at the beginning of the year. So it's going to be equal to whatever is at the beginning of the year times the interest rate. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to hit this. I'm going to go F4. So I earned 0 interest. And then my future value is just going to be equal to my payment plus whatever interest earned. Remember, this payment came at the end of the year. So let me put the formula in here. Okay. So then I'm going to start again. At my second year, it's equal to whatever it was at the end of my first year is the same as the beginning of my second year. I'm still going to have the same payment, but now my interest is going to be, remember this payment's at the end of the year, so my interest is only based on what I start at the beginning of the year, so 6,000 times 10%. And then my future value is going to be the sum of those. Well, it's going to be the sum of, I'm sorry, this should be the sum of all three, right? Should be also this plus, okay? And then, so this is going to be, I can just drag this down. So now at the end of the second period, after I put that payment in, I'm going to have 12,600. So once I start the second row, I can just double click and send this down because Excel is that smart. I'm going to say these pound signs mean if I highlight all these and double click, it'll auto fit. And we get 590. And if I take that out 2 places, it should be, oops. If I take that out 2 places, that's going to be the same answer, 590. Okay, so that's basically what's going on. All these other things are shortcut formulas in order to calculate that. But Excel is powerful enough, you could actually brute force it and calculate it out. So that table is going to be the same thing as the table we got on this financial calculator. See that? Okay. Now they use this present value as negative because you're investing it, but that's okay. It's the same thing the way we did it. Okay. All right. So I think I've covered everything. You can use a financial calculator. It'd be very similar. The HP or the Texas Instrument, I think has a financial calculator. Even the TI-84 has has a time value of money. You know, the one you had in high school, probably most likely. So anyway, hopefully that was helpful to show you that there's a lot of ways to do it. And the book shows you how to do all these different ways too. So I think that video is long enough. So anyway, so if you like this video, my picture will come up. You can subscribe by clicking on my picture. Give me a thumbs up if you like it. Give me any comments. That's it for today. Thanks for watching.